Then we will discuss about structure of family. So the question can be, what is the change in structure? What is the reason for the change in structure? Like that, you will get questions. So function, any doubt? This very simple topic. These are very simple topics only. Don't take it light. Yeah, tell me if you have any doubt.
Sir, here they didn't talk about conflicts in the families.
Yeah, we are talking about conflict in the family. There are many. All these are related to conflict in the family, dysfunction, status quo, or sexual abuse. Everything is related to conflict only.
Okay, sir.
Domestic violence. Everything is related to conflict. It is not necessarily manifest conflict between people. Conflict means contradictions. So once we are done with marks, don't see conflict as fight between two people. So domestic violence is not the conflict. I would say in that contradictions is what you need to say as conflict here. So that should be the level of maturity that you need to have once we're done with marks. Okay, we have discussed about the other physical conflict also. Conflict means contradictions. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So now we will start with structure of family. So I have given you the introduction here. You can see introduction. Structure means the pattern of relationships. Okay. The structural studies of family identifies the nature of relationship. The structural studies of family identifies the nature of relationship between different units of family. Theoretically, the relationship within family are either blood relation, is what you call as consanguineal relation, marriage relation, affinal relation, and in certain cases, relationship of adoption. Blood relation is also known as consanguineal relation. Marriage relation is also known as affinal relation. Apart from this, structural studies examine the exact nature of relationship between different members. So what do you mean by structure? Structure means pattern of relations. So structural studies means what? Relationship between different members. That is what structural studies are going to identify. Okay, so you're trying to identify the relationship between different members mostly, and you also have to first, so you will talk about the relationship between different members, like who are related by blood, and we will also talk about marriage relation. So we will also have to talk about what are the changes which is happening from traditional society to modern society within blood relation and within marriage relation. What are the new changes? Also we need to write what are the reasons for the change in structure of family. Structure means pattern of relationship. Okay. So when we study structure of family, when we talk about theoretically, two dimension is what we need to see here, because relations are either consanguineal or affinal. So here you can talk about consanguineal relation and affinal relation. Okay, again this is not there in the syllabus, but I have seen these questions before, that's why I have taken up this topic. Then structure of traditional family, if you see patriarchal society, right? So Parson is talking about instrumental head and emotional head. Okay, so that is a system. Instrumental head means the father controls everything, mother controls the emotional aspects, like father is the main person who is the breadwinner, who takes in charge of everything, but mother is the person who's taking care of the child. Okay, the passive role, that's what you mean by emotional head. So instrumental head and emotional head. So now this role is actually changing when we discuss about modern society. In modern society, both father and mother doing both roles, emotional as well as instrumental role. Mother is also breadwinner, mother also take major decisions, father also take care of emotional aspects of the child, taking care of child, etc. All these things are done by both of them. So that is a change in modern society. Now, okay, apart from this, if you go for, here I have written the factors, I have not written it completely. So what I want to tell you is, so this is what you need to explain. You need to explain this relation and this case. And if you go for a micro level analysis, if it is 20 marker, you have to talk about between relation. First you talk about husband-wife. So husband-wife, what type of relation is it? Conjugal, right? Or affinal. I could say affinal. Conjugal or affinal. Affinal or conjugal, married relation. Okay. So in traditional society, I'm only writing T. Traditional society, it is, the structure is like husband is authoritarian. So authoritarian structure. Modern society, it is cooperation. Please take down along with me whatever I'm saying, please write it down. So this you won't find in the textbook, so please write it down. So husband-wife, conjugal or affinal relation. Traditional society, authoritarian. Modern society, cooperation. Then parent-child. Okay, between them, in the traditional society, if you see, I've told you already here, instrumental head and emotional head. That is in the case of traditional society, father is the instrumental head, mother is the emotional head. But in the modern society, both father and mother playing the role of both instrumental as well as expressive role. That means emotional role. Okay, so that means you can see a diffuseness in the modern society with respect to the functions and everything. So there is a diffuseness, and there is a new concept which I've already told you yesterday, that is Filiocentrism. What do you mean by Filiocentrism? What is Filiocentric family or Filiocentrism?
The opinions of children.
The opinions of children. The child is superior, right? So the child view is taken like when you're buying a car, which car need to be brought, you need to buy, it has to be decided by the child. Similarly, everything is actually decided by the child. So that is what Filiocentric family, that you can, this concept is actually given by Maurer, okay? So Filiocentric family. Then apart from that, you can also talk about the relation between brother, sister, okay? What is the change? It is similar to this only. In the traditional society, it was authoritarian in nature because traditional society is patriarchal. So brother is enjoying all the authority. In the modern society, it is like a fellowship type. That means cooperation type, okay? So cooperation or fellowship type. Okay. Now, apart from this, if you talk about aged and family, what is the, in case of aged, in the traditional society, they got a lot of value, they had a lot of role to perform. Okay, so the aged people used to exercise authority in the traditional society. But in modern society, the authority is actually declining. So diminishing authority you can see in the modern society. But even though we are talking about authority is diminishing, so if you talk about these two dimensions, secular dimension and ritual status. Secular means in the modern values, ritual status means the traditional value. In ritual status, ritual aspect, the importance is still there in terms of the solemnizing marriage or any prayer, those kinds of things. The elderly will get the respect and advantage. But modern things like secular matters, what type of education should be provided to the grandchildren, in which school has to be joined, which type of car has to be bought, all these things there is no role. Okay, so secular values, there is no role for the elderly. We use this word karta, so we can say the role of karta is actually decreasing in the modern society. The karta used to establish, enjoy the authority in the traditional society. Okay. So apart from this, you can also talk about other structural aspects. Other structural aspect, what all things is coming to your mind from the previous discussion? A lot of things I have discussed. We have discussed about weekend family. Okay, we have discussed about dual career family. We have discussed about ding family. Okay, you can also talk about divorce. So what is the case with divorce? In the traditional society, divorce instances was very less. Modern society, instances of divorces very high, and divorce is no more considered as a taboo. And reconstituted family is again very common in the modern days, which were not that common in the traditional family. You can also talk about violence. Violence within family is actually increasing. Okay, we don't want to specifically say violence against women is increasing, violence against male is also increasing. So violence within family is actually increasing. So, and that even shown in the legislation, right? Domestic Violence Act was passed because of that only. So violence, you can write, if you want to, violence against women is increasing, or you can say simply violence is increasing, and that even led to the passage of legislation. Okay, now apart from this, you can also talk about non-institutional I'm telling you the way you need to write the answer, the point that you need to incorporate here, which we have already discussed. So there is no point in repeating the same thing again in the PDF. So what all things we know from the previous discussion. Non-institutional means what all things you'll write. Non-institutional relations. Tell me what all things you'll write. From the previous discussion. Live-in family you will write here. Okay. So what all things that we discussed yesterday but that I have not covered today, like brother, sister, husband, wife, okay, parents, children, aged and family, you can write here. So what are they? Live-in. Okay, then single parent, right? Single parent. So that is actually a structural change. You can see the change in structure. So live-in, single parent, gay parent. Okay. Child-centered families you can see now, but few child, right? Few child. Maybe one child norm. We have discussed about the six pocket syndrome. Six pocket syndrome, right? Like father, mother, okay, they have only one child, male. Another father, mother, they have one child, female. They got married and only one child. So this child is having all the benefit of this person, this person, this person, this person, this person and this person. So he get his toys and everything from the six pockets. Okay, that's what six pocket syndrome, especially in Chinese system where one parent, one child is the norm. Okay, now apart from this, we will also look into the factors responsible for change in structure of family. So all these are self-explanatory. In fact, all these are there in Essential Sociology also. I have taken these points in the order from there only. So you can read there. Industrialization. Okay, you can explain this. That led to geographical mobility, that led to social mobility. So that led to nuclear family. So you already know right from chapter 1, topic 1, we are talking about industrialization. The love marriage, that is also related to change in structure. Legal factors. Okay, so Domestic Violence Act, etc. is actually introduced. Then divorce was through law. So there is a repetition. So these two are actually same. Okay, divorce was actually incorporated through law. Household shifts in family. Okay, emergence of alternative to family and marriage, like the one we have discussed, live-in. Okay, single parent, gay parent, etc. That you can write. You don't want to write in that context only this reason. Then growing individualism. Okay, educational achievements of women because of educational qualification, women marriage is actually delayed marriage and she is able to get better jobs, okay, job security, and because of this job security there are possibility of breakdown in family. Okay, so whatever is coming to your imagine, you don't want a specific study to write all these things. It's up to you. All these are open to you now. Overpopulation and migration, secularization. Because of that, intercaste marriage, interreligious marriage, etc. is very common. Not only secularization in terms of religion, secularization in terms of everything, in terms of employment, in terms of education, in terms of every social aspects. Secularization lead to changes in family. Media, okay, state policy, various state policy like various state programs, laws, etc. Everything, Domestic Violence Act, everything can be coming under the factors responsible for changes in structure of family. So even apart from this, what all things is fit to your convenience and whatever is coming to your mind, if you feel that it is not here but it may be possible, it may be a reason, you can write that. Even green revolution you can write. Okay, green revolution if you want you can write. Then if you want you can write law sex ratio is also one of the reason. So whatever is coming to your mind you can write if it is good, okay, if it is fitting into the context. So this is actually a very simple question. Structure, whether it is 20 mark or even 30 mark, you can write. You have a lot of content with you. Okay, next topic is joint family. So can we discuss about joint family now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. Tell me. Tejashi, you want to ask me something? Oh, somebody called. Okay. So joint family, this point I've already told you. When you, if you need to write in sociological perspective, what all things you need to take into consideration. The easy way in which you can write a sociological perspective is talk about functions and dysfunction. Okay. So this will give you actually the functional perspective and conflict perspective view. Then talk from macro perspective. Okay, so these are something which anybody can do. At this level you can easily do this too. You can also talk about within function, manifest function like we have done today only, and latent function. So individual's point of view and societal perspective. That's what manifest and latent function. Then you can also write about manifest dysfunction, latent dysfunction. Now you also talk about fact versus value. The very same example I have given you before also. Fact, in terms of fact, is it still there, joint family? No, right? It is disappearing. But in terms of value, jointness is there. We all live in nuclear family because of the exigencies, because of the situational constraints. Okay, so we but prefer the jointness. We are always love to be together. Unless you are that sufficient, especially in India, everybody love the jointness. Okay, at least if structurally not dominant, functionally they are joined. Okay, so I think I've used some other word. Structurally they are not joined. Okay, that means structurally when you are seeing the fact, they are not joined, they live in nuclear family, but functionally they joined. That means in terms of any help required in any hospital case, in case of marriage, in case of a death, any such cases, there will be a help from the members of the family. So that's what you can understand. Structurally joint family is rare, it is disappearing, but functionally joint family is what you can see more. So jointness is very important. Okay, so this is what the entire discussion is all about. So the size is disappearing if you understand joint family in terms of the size, but the obligation is not disappearing. We are still having that obligation with the kin members. Okay, so now let's discuss about a joint family